A lot of people think you have to choose between building muscle or losing body fat. They say you need to bulk up if you want to build muscle. They say you need to cut down if you want to lose body fat. But you can actually do both at the same time. The reason I know it's possible is because that's exactly what I did when I cut down from 93 kgs to 78 kgs and lost 15 kgs of body fat. I noticed that one, I looked way bigger and way stronger, and all my lifts in the gym have improved by 5 to 10 kgs each. So surely it means I gain more muscle mass. If I'm stronger, I'm looking bigger, and everyone around me saying I look bigger, I look like I have more muscle mass. Building muscle and losing body fat at the same time is called body recomposition, and it's possible. It's just not as quick as bulking to build muscle or cutting to lose body fat. It takes a little bit longer than cutting, but it is worth it in my opinion, because if you cut and you just look like a smaller, skinnier, weaker version of yourself, what was the point of the cut anyway? We want to recomp. We want to have sculpted muscles. We want our muscles to look sharper and more defined. That's the whole point. The first rule to body recomposition is adequate protein. Protein is so important. You want to be having about 2.2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. If you weigh 70 kgs, you want to be having about 154 grams of protein a day. But I realized how important protein intake was when I went on holiday to my grandma's house and I was eating all the food that she was giving me. Unfortunately, her diet has lower protein than my diet. And when I went there to live with her for 1 month, even though I was going to the gym, I was eating way less protein, and I noticed that I was losing a lot of muscle mass because my strength was going down drastically. So that's when I realized the power of protein, and just having a higher protein intake allows you to keep the muscle mass that you have on and even build muscle mass whilst losing body fat. The only way for you to actually know how much protein is in your food is if you're tracking your calories. If you're not tracking your calories with Calorie or MyFitnessPal, then you have to start tracking your calories. You have to start knowing what's going into your body, how many calories is it, and how much protein you have in your diet. When you start tracking, you actually start making a lot more progress. Now, the next rule to body recomposition is keep the calorie deficit small. A lot of people go super drastic because they gain a whole bunch of weight first, and then they get scared, and then they do this crash dieting thing where they're in a 1,200 calorie deficit. If you want to guarantee muscle loss, eat in a deep calorie deficit. Keep your calorie deficit small. 400 calories deficit is the sweet spot to build muscle and be losing fat at a sustainable rate. If you try and go with these high deficits, then you're not even going to be able to stick to your diet, and you will guarantee muscle loss. In fact, the first time I did a body fat cut, I was skinny fat. I didn't know what I was doing. I went deep into a calorie deficit. I was eating 1,500 calories a day, which is very low. It's considered very low. And I realized that I was losing a lot of muscle mass. In fact, 1 month into the cut, I actually stopped cutting because I started looking skinny. I did lose body fat, but I also lost muscle. So I just lost weight and I became a smaller, skinnier version of myself. All my lifts in the gym went down and I lost progress in every area. In that moment, I realized that going into a deep calorie deficit, yes, it makes weight loss seem quicker, but it's quicker because you're literally losing muscle, you're losing fat, you're losing everything. And it takes a long time to build that muscle back up. So keep your calorie deficit small. The next thing is your training stimulus. This is by far one of the most important things when it comes to keeping on muscle. It's, are you progressing in the gym? Because if your strength is going up on key lifts, then it means you're gaining muscle mass. And if your strength is going down, then it means you're losing muscle mass. So you have to do your absolute best to progress. If you're not tracking the amount of weight you're doing and the amount of reps you're doing, then you're slacking, because you should start tracking that. When you track your weight and your reps, it gives you a target for your next training session that I want to beat this. Let's say you did 50 kgs for 11 reps. Now you have the target to do it for 12 reps. 13 reps. When you can progress in the gym, you are guaranteed to hold on to muscle mass, because every time you push hard in the gym, it sends a stimulus to your brain saying that we are using this muscle mass and we need this muscle for survival. So your brain delays muscle loss because you've sent this strong training stimulus that we're not strong enough and we need more muscle. We need this muscle to literally survive. So your body prioritizes maintaining as much muscle mass as possible. It's so important to have a strong training stimulus. When it comes to body recomp, I think 4 times a week is the best split, because it means that you can recover and you can hit really hard. If you try training 6 times a week, you won't be able to recover properly. Muscle growth happens during recovery. And every time you go to the gym, you'll be fatigued because you're going to the gym too much. Lower your output to about 4 times a week training split. That will be the best, most comfortable, most fun. If you want a free training split, DM me training split on my Instagram, linked in the description, and I'll send you a free 4 times a week training split. Now, the next thing I'll actually recommend for body recomposition is creatine, because creatine helps you get those last 2, 3, 4 reps at the end of each set. Those last few reps are some of the most important important reps when it comes to building muscle. In fact, you actually build muscle from those last few reps when you push into failure and you almost can't do those reps, and you just push through and you're able to do it. It's those last reps that really promote muscle growth, because what happens when you go to the gym is you actually have micro tears, and your body repairs those micro tears and makes them stronger. So when you really are pushing those last few reps, creatine helps because it makes ATP in your muscle more readily available, which helps you push harder. It's more important when you're in a calorie deficit and if you want to build muscle to really push to your absolute limit, to push really close to failure. That's why I would recommend creatine if you want a body recomp. I found that my muscles are also just more full in general. I've been on creatine now for about 2 weeks. I had originally gone off, but I'm now back on, and I've noticed that my muscles are looking way fuller already in just 2 weeks of being on creatine. The next thing to do is time restricted eating. Now, I used to eat the second I wake up to the second I go to bed, which is really bad for body recomping. You actually want to do time restricted eating where you wait 5 hours before you eat your first meal of the day. This helps balance your body's anabolic and catabolic reactions, because the hormones in your brain when you're in a fasted state promote fat burning, and it promotes being in a catabolic state. And then when you're in an anabolic state, you're actually building muscle. So if you can keep that fasting window early in the morning and then close to your workout, let's say you work out in the afternoon or in the evening, keep food really high close to workouts. Before and after workout, food should be really high so that you're super anabolic and you can build and repair the muscle that you've broken down. And that food that you eat is allocated towards building and repairing your muscles. And then in the mornings, you're in that catabolic state, so your body's breaking down. But because you don't train in the mornings, then you're likely not gonna break down muscle mass. You'll likely just be breaking down fat. The next thing is to actually utilize diet breaks and refeeds. So after a while of being in a calorie deficit, your glycogen stores actually get depleted and depleted and depleted. The more depleted your glycogen is, the more easy it is for your body to tap into muscle and break down muscle tissue. So like once a week, you should have a day when you go back to maintenance calories to fill up your glycogen stores so that your body is less likely to tap into muscle mass and you can actually build muscle. You want to have high quality sleep. So when I went back to my home country, I was traveling, I was doing a whole bunch of travel. My sleep schedule was horrendous for about a week, and in that week I made the worst progress. My lifts were so bad in the gym, and I felt like I was more bloated, and I felt like my body fat was increasing slightly during that time. And on the scale, it was reflecting that I was gaining weight even though I was in a calorie deficit. But because my sleep was just off, my hormones are off, my cortisol's up, your testosterone's low, you just get good sleep, because during sleep is where muscle repair happens, number one, and then growth hormone and testosterone get released during deep sleep. So you have to have super high quality sleep, super high quality deep sleep. So I guarantee if you stay consistent and you're disciplined throughout this journey, you can build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. You don't need to choose between bulking and cutting. It will just take longer than cutting will, but it's possible to build muscle and lose body fat at the same time, because I did it. Thanks.